How much money can you really make as a Canadian Armed Forces reservist or part-time soldier? And how do you turn that pay into long-term wealth? What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we're talking money. I'm not some financial guru. I'm definitely not a financial advisor. And I'm not a deep diving investing nerd either. But I have made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of common mistakes that I think you guys might make too, especially for your younger crew, just getting into the military, maybe your first job, your first time getting real big paychecks. I've seen it all before, and I've been there, and I've made poor financial decisions. And a little something you guys don't know about me, I was homeless for about 8 months. It was through that experience, through my discipline, and the tips I'm about to tell you that I was able to bring myself from homeless to just under 100K. Trust me, I'm going to do a whole video on that, but if I'm being honest, it's a little bit of an emotional video and it's a touchy subject. But a quick heads up now before I get into it, I do a lot of my smart investing with Kraken. It's a crypto exchange platform, super low fees, super beginner friendly, strong security, and it puts all the real stable coins right in your face so you don't have to go looking for them. And honestly, that's perfect for guys like myself and most likely a lot of my viewers who don't know a lot about the crypto world. You simply don't have the time to study into it, but you want to make smart investing choices. Smart investing with Kraken has played a huge role in getting out of my past situation and getting me to where I am today. I reached out to them, told them a little bit about my story, and they're willing to partner up with me for you guys. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but if you want to get into it now, you can click that link in my bio. Now, let's get into the reservist pay, their classes, the benefits, and any other kind of incidentals you get, and we're going to break down exactly what you guys can bring home. And I think a lot of you guys are going to be surprised with how much the reservist can actually make. Let's dive into it. So I think the first thing you need to understand is there's 3 classes for the reservist. You've got Class A, Class B, and Class C. Class A, that's your standard part-time work. You're generally obligated to 1 work evening a week and 1 weekend a month. Otherwise, you can kind of just pick up days here and there where they're available. Class A is super awesome because you can come in when you want to. Generally, they're going to ask, hey, do you want a work day? Do you want a half work day? And if you want the work and you have the time, take it and make some extra cash. It's honestly that simple, and you get to do some fun, quality training out of it sometimes too. I'm not going to lie to you and say that's every time. Sometimes they're bringing you in and it's going to be to sweep the base. But depending on your rank, you might get a couple $100 for it. And that's a pretty easy afternoon. On Class A, you make about 92.8% of what the rank force make. So it's not bad at all. You come in for your training nights and you sign a pay sheet, and that's how you get paid. One awesome thing I want to mention here, if you live more than 50 to 55 kilometers, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but let's just say if you're above that 55 kilometer threshold from your home to your unit armories, they're actually going to compensate you for gas. Not many other workplaces are going to pay for your gas in your personal vehicle to drive to work. Class B, these are your full-time contracts. When you're on courses, unit taskings like unit recruiter, or if you pick up FTSE or full-time summer employment, which as a reservist is one of those perks you have as well. If you want full-time summer employment, it's going to be there for you. And it's pretty much guaranteed. And that's the whole point of the full-time summer employment program. But Class Bs aren't just for the students. Later in your career, when you're finally an instructor, anytime you're teaching courses as a reservist, you're almost always going to be on a Class B. With the only real exception being if you're deployed teaching a course to a foreign ally. In that case, you're going to be on what's called a Class C. You can also find yourself on short-term postings on a Class B. These Class Bs can be up to 3 years. So if you're a reservist and you parade out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, for example, and you don't really know what you have going on for the next few years and you really need some full-time work, you can pick up a full-time contract if there's any available and work here on base with the Reg Force counterparts on a Class B. Moving on to Class C. Class C is your full-time operational deployments. It's 100% of the Reg Force rates and benefits. We'll get into the benefit breakdown later too for all the classes, don't worry. Most reservists, they operate in that 92.8% range that I mentioned until they deploy. The other way you can find yourself a Class C is being attached to a deployable Reg Force unit. But again, there's some stipulations there too, and sometimes they still put you on a Class B. That portion of it is a little confusing. I really don't know how they make that stipulation. That is definitely some clerk jargon that I just don't understand. Next, before I get into the specifics on pay, I want to talk about benefits. That's medical benefits, dental benefits, and your pension retirement benefits. On a Class A, for medical coverage, you need an accumulative of 180 days on a Class A. Your coverage is going to be duty related only, and your routine care is going to be through your civilian healthcare system. After 3 months on a Class A, you get dental coverage, although your dependents are not covered. And on Class A's, you don't get a pension. Although I do want to mention, if you do switch from reserve to Reg Force, you can buy back that time and you will get pensionable time towards those Class A days that you had. Class B, that's the full-time taskings and courses like I mentioned. Generally, you're on a military base when you do this, serving the military's care. Still, your medical coverage is duty related only. So if you hurt yourself on the weekend in your own time, well, you're going to have to go take care of it in the civilian medical system, or suffer it until Monday and say it happened that morning when you were on duty. I'm just kidding. Don't lie. Honesty and integrity. If you're hurt, go get yourself checked out. But if you're injured or sick on duty, you're going to go to the MIR. That's pretty much a military clinic or hospital that's on base. For more serious cases, they're likely going to send you to a civilian hospital. You'll get dental care on a Class B, but again, it's for you, the member only, and not for your dependents. And again, just like Class A, you aren't paying really much towards your pension, unless you go reg force, or if you find yourself on a long-term Class B contract, then you can pay towards your pension then. After just 180 days on Class B though, so that means your 181st day, you now have full medical, dental, and pension benefits. And the great thing is, now your dependents are covered within that dental system now too. Class C, that's the full-time operationally deployed or with an operational unit. You get full CAF medical, dental, and pension benefits just like your reg force counterparts right from the start. As you should. You're now doing the exact same job as the regular force, and in some situations, putting your life on the line. Not that we're doing any of that right now in the Canadian Forces though. Now, let's break down the pay. Starting out as a private, you have 3 pay scales. They start from $127 a day, and they go up to $163 a day. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, and obviously you're not going to become rich off of that, but you're not meant to, especially not as a private, and you won't be kept at that rank for very long. But it's a super easy way to make some extra cash, especially if you're a student or somebody who's working part-time, or even if you have a full-time career and you want to fill up your evenings and weekends with some extra work and make some extra cash. Oftentimes you're doing some fun, rewarding work, and you get some pretty cool experiences out of it. After about 2 years in the reserves, you're going to get promoted to the rank of corporal, unlike your reg force counterparts, where it takes about 4 years to get promoted to corporal. So you guys are extremely lucky in that case, because one of your biggest pay jumps are from private to corporal. Corporals have 4 pay increments, starting from about $189 a day to about $200 a day. And that's if you're a standard corporal. If you find yourself in a specialist trade, you'll be making about $205 a day to $220 a day, and sometimes even a little more depending on your specialty. The next 2 ranks are master corporal and sergeant. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about those because honestly, the pay jumps aren't that big, and I want to get to the ones that are the most important. Warrant officers. Warrant officer is the next big pay jump from sergeant to warrant officer. There are 4 pay increments as a warrant officer, starting at about $237 a day, going up to about $245 a day. And if you're a specialist, it's about $255 a day to about $265 a day. And again, a little bit more depending on your position or your specialty. And finally, for the NCMs, if you're one of the very few who find yourself reaching the very top rank of chief warrant officer, then you can make anywhere from $285 a day to $330 a day. Again, with 4 pay increments in there, and your pay can increase depending on your specialties, training, time in the field, and various other factors that we're going to talk about. So all in all, NCM pay is not bad, especially when you get to the rank of corporal. For example, if you're a student and you find yourself some free time in the summer, you can go away for about 60 days and make $9K. And that's before any extras like field pay, meal allowances, or whatever else they want to give you. Next up, officers. Starting off as an officer cadet, you've got 3 pay increments, and you can expect to make anywhere between $135 a day to $160 a day. From here, you'll be promoted to a second lieutenant. Second lieutenants have 10 pay increments, starting from $150 a day all the way up to $260 a day. To be honest, I don't know that many people who stick around in second lieutenant that long to get up to the 10th pay increment. Most people soon after get promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Generally at this rank, you can find yourself, at least in the reg force, being a platoon commander. They have 10 pay increments as well, making anywhere from $186 a day up to $302 a day. Like I've mentioned in my previous videos about officers and NCMs, if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Officers, they do have to have a degree. It's a requirement to be an officer, with some stipulations on if you have time in or some prior service. But for the most part, all these guys went to school or they're going to school. So naturally, they get paid a little bit better. Your next promotion, and the rank that you're probably going to sit at the longest, will be to the rank of captain. Captains are huge in the officer world. They play a massive role, and their faces are seen pretty much everywhere. They again have 10 pay increments, and they make anywhere from $250 to $317 a day. If you stay in long enough or excel well enough to become a commanding officer of a unit, you'll likely take up that role in the rank of lieutenant colonel. They're making some pretty big pay, anywhere from $375 a day to $400 a day. And again, without any field pay, benefits, incidentals, or any extras. And that's not even the highest ranking officer in the CAF. If you're one of the even fewer percentages that make it up to the rank of lieutenant general or vice admiral, you can expect to make $760 to $820 a day. If that's your goal, strive for it. Best of luck to you. I hope you get there. Let's quickly talk about those additional pay and bonuses. Anytime you go to the field, you get a field allowance or field pay. Correct me if I'm wrong here, reservists. I think it's around $30 extra a day, and it's non-taxable. And then sometimes on top of that, you'll get paid for meals as well. If you find yourself in a reserve unit that has a jump capability, like the regiment, the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, you may find yourself getting jump pay. I'm not entirely sure what the jump pay allowance is monthly for the reservists, but I'd make an educated guess around a couple $100 extra a month. And if you're not in a jump unit and you're still taking jumps, you're going to get paid about $70 per jump. And it definitely all adds up. And I mean, that's pretty freaking awesome. You're getting paid for jumping out of airplanes. Damn, I love that shit. If you're a diver, depending on what type of diver you are and what type of dive quals you have, you can find yourself making $150 to $360 extra a month. And then on top of that, anytime you travel, you get travel claims. They're paying you for being away from your home, for spending overnights out of your own bed. Oftentimes, they're going to pay for your meals. They may even pay you to go get meals. And I'm going to be honest, the amount they pay you is pretty insane. You can eat in luxury pretty much every meal. And they're going to pay for all your travel and all of your lodging. All right, so you've just seen you can make some pretty good cash. And you're going to make some pretty good cash. But now what? What do you do with it? How do you set yourself up so you don't have to work anymore in the future? Because I know that's what all of us want. And I think it's really important to know how to save and invest your money properly. Because let's be real here. If you're just taking that class A, B, or C money and putting it away in a bank account, well, that's great and all that you're not spending it. But as it's sitting there in that bank account and inflation continues to rise, the value of your dollar lowers. What you want to do is save that money somewhere where it's going to fight inflation. All right, enough about this inflation talk. Like I said, you don't need to be a financial expert. I'm definitely not. And you don't got to read the Globe every day either. I definitely don't. But I've made a few mistakes in the past, like I've said. And I think these are easy mistakes to make, especially for you younger guys joining the military. And if I can help you avoid making those mistakes now and set you up for success early, why wouldn't I do that? Start with the basics. Open a TFSA. That's a tax-free savings account if you haven't already. The name says it all. It's tax-free. You can invest in Canadian stocks, ETFs, or covered call ETFs that pay you out a monthly dividend. A dividend means they're paying you out a small percentage every month. So as you're saving that money and it's sitting there in that bank account, remember, it's still a savings account, but it'll be actively paying you back monthly or sometimes quarterly dividends. And that's going to add up. Keep putting cash into that, and eventually, years down the road, your dividends are just going to be paying your salary for you. And the best part about it, you get to watch it grow without the tax man ever touching it. Personally, I love the dividend-focused stuff and stuff that ties into the S&P. I focus a lot of my funds towards SCHD, VOO, and high-paying covered call ETFs like XYLD. And if you can commit to putting $100 to $200 a month in, reinvest those dividends, you're building your wealth without even thinking about it. Now, crypto. I know half of you just rolled your eyes, but before you tune out, I'm not about to sell you on some weird token or a get-rich-quick scheme. That ain't my thing. It's not what I'm about. And I haven't nerded out enough on it to be that kind of guy anyways. I'm going to tell you what I do know, how it's worked for me, and how it can work for you. And most importantly, how to do it the safe way so you keep your money and you don't lose it. I'm not a crypto bro. I'm not riding Lambos to the moon, man. I'm just a guy that's been quietly stacking some Solana, XRP, and other stablecoin ETFs along the side. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's been one of the smartest moves I made financially so far. And the reason I bring this up in a video about military pay at all is because I want you guys to start thinking about long-term, passive income, asset building, and getting your money to work for you, even when you're on tasking, field X, and deployed. Because guys, if you don't know it yet, we get a whole lot of time off in the military. Our leave breaks are insane. It's great. How awesome would it be if every time you got a leave break, you got to take a nice vacation out of the country with your entire family? That's what I'm hoping for you, that financial freedom in the future. This is where Kraken plays a role. I've been using Kraken personally for a while now. They're great for Canadians, and they're one of the most trusted crypto exchanges in the game. Low fees, easy to follow dashboard, and no BS like I said before. All the stable coins that are actually worth putting your money into are right in front of you. You don't have to go scrolling through 400 pages to find out what's not BS and what's actually legit. It's right there. I use Kraken to hold coins like XRP, Solana, Kronos, and a couple others. If you're someone already following the crypto world right now, you know it's going absolutely insane. A lot of people believe that crypto is truly the way of the future, and it's honestly looking that way. ETFs on crypto were literally signed this weekend, and the future is just looking more and more promising for the crypto world. Honestly, get in now, get in early. On Kraken, I use features like staking with my Solana. Pretty much, it's just like getting a dividend back, like I mentioned with the stocks and ETFs. You get to earn back Solana or whatever other coin you're involved in the staking program with, and you have to do absolutely nothing. Best part about it, you do not need thousands of dollars. All you need is 10, 20 bucks. I'm going to be honest though, if you're starting small, which is totally fine, there isn't really a whole lot of point for you to invest into something like Bitcoin. Wait maybe a little later till your cash grows a little higher, but for now, this is just my personal opinion, but I'd stick to a little of the cheaper stable coins. It's not about gambling. It's about learning the space and getting exposure to a financial tool that's here to stay. I reached out and I partnered with Kraken, not because I needed it, but because I believe in what they're doing. They helped me, and I'm trying to extend that to you. If you're curious about dipping your toes into crypto, hit the link in the description, sign up, and start making your first investments towards your future. It helps the channel, it funds content like this, and it gets you guys on a platform that actually gives a damn about their users. I've spoke with one of their affiliate managers, and he's extremely excited to be reaching out to military members and people who are new and not so familiar with the crypto industry. And I'm super stoked to give you guys this content. This isn't going to be my whole niche now. I'm still going to stick to the military content, but I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff here and there because I think part of my niche with the military content, saving money, financial opportunities in the military, it only makes sense for me to talk a little bit about this as well. Just like with any investment, do your research, be smart, but also don't sleep on what the future is to hold. Crypto, stocks, and ETFs aside, there's some pretty smart traditional plays too. Real estate, absolutely. If you're disciplined and have the means, buying a rental or even co-owning a property can be a huge power move. And then of course there's gold and silver. They're old school assets that never go out of style. Those things I mentioned, they constantly appreciate in value over time. Appreciating meaning they're going up in value over time. But let's quickly talk about some bad investments for a second, because I've seen it and I've done it. Someone finishes their summer taskings, walks into a dealership, and drops their entire savings on a down payment on a $70,000 vehicle that they had no need in buying anyways. Look, I get it, it's tempting, but the second you drive that thing off the lot, so much of that value decreases, and it's only going to decrease over time. You're better off leasing something smart or buying yourself a reliable used vehicle. And just take that extra money and put it towards something that can actually grow. Bottom line, guys, you worked hard for this money and you're doing it for a reason. Make sure it works hard for you. So to sum it all up, a career as a reservist in the Canadian Armed Forces offers some solid pay and some great benefits, extra allowances, and the opportunity to stack your income. But the real win, saving it, investing it, and leveraging it long term. Make that cash work for you. Open a tax-free savings account, open a crypto wallet, invest in stocks and ETFs, invest in crypto, stick to the stable coins, and if you have the means, consider real estate, gold, silver, and all of those things that appreciate in value over time. I'm so tired of seeing privates driving around in Mustangs. I know how much you make, bro. Why are you doing this? If you found this video helpful and you like this kind of content, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe and comment what else you'd like to see, whether that be Canadian Forces content, if you have any kind of financial questions you may want to ask. But of course, my whole niche is the military, so any of my financial content is going to be tied into the military in some sense. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Train hard, stay smart, and like always, catch you in the next one.